Hi, we're all doing our Management 300 paper for Dr. T over Shein. My name's Allison.
My name's Trey.
Julia.
Julie.
Taylor.
And so we're going to get started and talk about how Shein and all the process we went through with our milestone papers.
Okay, so first some background on Shein. Shein is a fast fashion owned company by Zing Tan, created by Chris Zhu. Focuses mainly on women's and menswear, but also has accessory bags and shoes. Fast fashion can be defined as cheap, trendy clothing sample ideas from catwalk and celebrity culture, and then turns them into garments in high street stores at breakneck speed to meet customer demands.
In the fall of 2008, Chris Zhu found a She Inside to open the gate. In 2015, She Inside became Shein as we know now, to make it easier for customers to remember. It started small, however, with the rise of COVID-19, Shein started to bloom, and now it has become the world's largest fashion retailer.
So even though Shein is one of the biggest fashion companies on the market right now, it also has a lot of problems in the supply chain. For example, one of the biggest problems they have is labor. So according to Six Tone, Shein recruits many of the order pickers via a dispatch agency, which can be a very unethical way, but also has a lot of inconsistencies. Since the workers aren't in good environments, they can also become sick, and they can even die from exhaustion and overworking. And this can cause a shortage of workers, which in turn causes Shein a slower production line.
Another one of the issues we want to dive deeper in is about Shein's impact on fast fashion and the environment. The main issue with this is that the constant use of synthetic textiles heavily harms the environment, and with the constant encouragement to refresh your wardrobe, it produces a tremendous amount of waste. According to an article by Vara on Shein and fast fashion, she states that the volume of textiles in the US landfills has nearly doubled over the past 2 decades because of how influential Shein has become as a company. While Shein clothing is inexpensive to purchase, it lacks sustainability, which is a recurring problem within the fast fashion industry. While many plan to make the switch to buying sustainable, according to Vara, Shein is still valued at $100 billion.
So one of the biggest problems with Shein is the supply chain. So there are both logistical and ethical problems with the supply chain and how they get their products. They get their supplies and products from third parties. So most of the third-party companies are in third world countries and do not have the best working conditions or labor laws. And when it comes to this, it causes a lot of inconsistencies in their production line. As for a solution, she could do many things to improve its supply chains. For starters, on the logistical side, they could find more reliable suppliers, and on the ethical side, they could hire out the work to better and more well-known manufacturers where the labor laws, where there are better labor laws and no ethical problems coming from them.
So with fast fashion becoming a massive issue in the fashion industry, dealing with its effect on the environment, so many sources claim that fast fashion is the fashion industry's future. But along with that comes many issues regarding ethics and environmental problems. Although no official research summarizes fast fashion's impact on the environment, an article by Terry Nugent states that the production of textiles alone emitted about 706 billion kilograms of greenhouse gases last year. Overall, bringing awareness to the problem itself is already helping the impact of fast fashion, but it cannot bring that change alone. Brands need to be aware of what role they play in the fast fashion industry and how they can help better protect our planet and its workers. According to Kate Whitting, there are 4 transformational ways a brand can make changes to better the environment. The first one being sustainable material mix, which is like using different materials that are recyclable and don't break down as easy. Closed loop fashion system is recycling, which is the second one. And then 3 is promoting better waste systems within, which goes towards the supply chain. And then 4 is an industrial revolution, which is embracing opportunities and rise of digitalization and encouraging different companies and brands to combine and cooperate together to make better changes towards our environment.
So to compare Shein to other big brands such as Lululemon, Nike, or Louis Vuitton, Shein is a fast fashion industry and the others are not. So these big brands are made to last longer and have better quality. Items from Lululemon, Nike, or Louis Vuitton take longer to produce and are much more expensive. With fast fashion brands, the items do not last, which means they end up in landfills quicker. The heart of the company is a flexible supply chain, which companies like Zara do not. Shein can create new products and have it on the U.S. customer's doorstep within 30 days with assistance of 400,000 Chinese factories. Comparing that to Zara places importance on hiring experienced designers and transporting them to global events. Although both of the companies create growth and revenue, Shein has a flexible supply chain that Zara does not.
Okay, so for the first portion of Shein's supply chain that needs to be fixed, it's the logistical side. And this can be fixed through reestablishing the third-party suppliers. The first step to doing this is slimming down the numbers of suppliers. There are upwards of 400,000 suppliers, so this will take time. After the new suppliers within the company are established and replace the existing system, once the company reconfigures the suppliers, the managers will meet annually and decide which suppliers works and which ones don't. For the second half of the supply chain problem is the ethical part. The steps that need to be taken to fix this are they need to make the supplier they need to cut out the suppliers that are unethical and find suppliers that have more basic labor laws and that we know treat the workers better. Another step they could even do is turn into in-house production. So in doing this, they'll have full control over all the clothes that are made and how all the workers are treated. Leaving no room for any oversight, and since all of it's being done in-house.
According to a source from Mallory, some ways Shein can start changing the direction are using fabric that doesn't harm the environment, use non-toxic dyes and detergents, and avoid fabrics made from fossil fuels and slow down their production. Shein's main problem is that it focuses on meeting the demand and creating new styles as much as possible every day, and then it fails to focus on using good qualities to make their fabrics.
So like stated before, Shein is a fast fashion industry, which means their clothes can end up in landfills quicker. So one way that Shein can help fix the problem is buying their clothes back or having a rewards program for recycling. An example of this from Cortez, Levi's company allows customers to trade in denim jackets or jeans, no matter how old they are, in exchange for a coupon between $5 and $35. In doing this, Levi will repair any damages to the old products and upcycle them to sell them again at a secondhand Levi store.
So tracking the qualitative and quantitative effectiveness on the ethical issues is very simple. The problem was the ethical part of the supply chain. The solution we came up with was to cut out the cheap and unreliable suppliers that didn't care about the workers. One way to track the quality of the changes would be to send out surveys asking workers questions like, how's the work environment? Do you feel safe? And do you feel that the work you're doing overall is strenuous? And other questions like that. Now for the quantitative tracking, we could track how many hours people work to see if they're being overworked. We can also track the employee turnover and track employee health by tracking the numbers of days that they miss work due to a work-related injury.
Okay, to begin with the solution and evaluating fast fashion and their problems with that, there's two ways, which are qualitative and quantitative. So first, speaking in qualitative terms, the company can see if it's reaching its goals of preventing fast fashion by interviewing customers to see whether they are noticing a change within the company, and then marketing transparency of the company. A survey could be placed at the end of each transaction to see if customers are asking them to prompt and take the survey to see if they're noticing any changes and what they have noticed within the company. One of the biggest things that we found was the Fashion Transparency Index, which ranks how well and how much a company discloses information to its consumers, and Shein was ranked at 0, meaning they're not transparent at all. And with this being said, everyone thinks Shein is a very cheap and inexpensive company, but with that comes a lot of issues with quality and quantity. And with that being said, a lot of the waste, it's not good quality stuff, so it ends up in a lot of landfills, which impacts us and the environment a lot more than we realize it does.
And then to speak in quantitative terms, solving the fast fashion problems with Shein starts with the greenhouse gas emissions. According to the press release on Zing, Shein will eliminate 25% of their emissions by 2030.
Which, with that being said, that is just speculation. If Shein is not being transparent with the company and what they're trying to do, we don't know if this will actually come to pass. And so that's what consumers like us need to be aware of when purchasing things from Shein. And that is the end. Here's our sources, and that is it.